It's showtime. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Born Reddy. I'm your host, Anthony Reddy. I always think it's funny to have a formal introduction. I think because we're so used to it and it's needed, but I'm like, why do I need to say that? You know it's the Born Reddy show. You know who I am. You know I'm Kevin Durant, right? You know who I am. Guys, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be back. I put out episode 5. Probably not for sure it's episode 5. Was a lot of fun to come up with. And I watched that episode over and over so much that it makes me sick. Like more than I usually do for editing or just, listening to feedback, right? And I realized how much I use filler words all the time. And I was really back and forth about why do I use the ands, buts, ums, and uhs so much? But what I realized is that I use it because it's a very conversational way to talk to you. Again, I like this to be something very personal where you and I are engaging, right? And do you realize it? Have you noticed? I realized. Have you noticed that like my pace, how I started this is very just myself. I don't have to overperform. I don't have to bring the energy all the time. By the way, I'm so tired today. In fact, I didn't want to record today, but I forced myself to show up and do it anyways. It's kind of like the theme, kind of like the routine that I built for myself, because you also have to get used to who I am. And sometimes I don't bring it. I don't have all the energy. Being here in Ireland has been a challenge with the time change, specifically going to bed at a certain time. And then I force myself to wake up every morning, 7:30, 8 o'clock, the latest, and to start my day. That's because we got things to do. And today was just a busy day between errands for my dad and I, and then going to the gym, and then finally showing up when the weather is actually good, because today was raining. And I noticed also, because of the lighting I have, it's very rinky-dinky. It's not a lot, and I have the ceiling light, which is like very warm. It's a warm color of a white. It's more like a yellow or an orange. I noticed that because the natural lighting coming in and the clouds, it's changing the color, which I felt that last episode, the color of all of this was very rinky-dinky. No, it wasn't rinky-dinky. It was just I did my best, okay? And that's part of it. I want to learn on my own. I want to do this all by myself. And I do have references to go and reach out to, but I want to learn everything and be self-sufficient and trust that I could do it, which I know I can. But anyways, you probably didn't even think twice about the filler words. You probably didn't even look at the video. You probably just listened to it. But all those things matter to me. And what I come to realize and what I've noticed is that this podcast game is like a sport, because we are recording live. Sure, I could stop at any moment and cut it, but that's kind of not the point of what this is. I'm supposed to just show up. And I just want it to be very fluid and flow and conversational, like you would if you and I were together talking. And I'm just so hard on myself, because I want it to be so good and perfect, and I want it to look how I would want it to be for myself. If you were watching, like if I was a viewer, like I want quality, and so I'm gonna strive for that. Okay, we're getting there. But even the progression, like this is episode 6. I feel like I've grown a lot in the last couple months doing this, and it's pushing me to do better for myself. So if you watched or listened to last episode, thank you so much. I felt like the pace was very fast, even though I talked about that I didn't need to talk about something. Every moment of every sentence needs to be filled up with words, right? Or the moment doesn't need to be filled up with words. It's supposed to feel like it's casual. And I'm coming into my own to feel that. Okay, with that said, let's get started. We have a lot of things to talk about today. I will try to go through them as fast but calm at a good pace. So I finished Untethered Soul. I'm going to pull the book up right here. I reread this book recently, right? Obviously, I've been talking about it. I read it about 10 years ago. Here's the conclusion, and here are the things that I've learned. And there's a reason why I was hesitant about rereading this book, and it's because it's so repetitive. The author, Michael Singer, works with Deepak Chopra, and I just feel like they're saying the same thing 100 times the same way. Like, well, different ways, but the same topic or the same meaning. So it's like, this chapter is about surrendering, and they use so many examples and they repeat themselves. And when you get to the kind of the end, you're kind of just like, I want to be done. And it's funny because the first maybe 10 to 11, 12 chapters, it wasn't really like that. There was a really good flow, but I just felt like at the very end, they were kind of repeating themselves from the beginning. And I understand the archetype, right? You know, it has to build. We have to get through it, and it all flows together. However, you could have just summarized it in a paragraph for me. So, but it taught me a lot of things that I forgot about, which is, well, the first big thing that I think about is life, to me, is like everything is made up. This whole system, this whole world is made up. It came from somewhere. It came from an idea. And we have these, this system has laws and ethics and rules, and we have patterns, and we follow things to make things work. Sure. But then there's an other side of that, and that's like nothing matters. And what the book was about was like, even though everything's happening to you, it's not who you are. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You're not you're not really anything. You're just a watcher being conscious about what's happening. To give you an example, and the example they use also is that life is a movie. You're in a movie theater, and the only thing that really matters is you watching what's happening. That's the only kind of control that we all have. Whether you believe that or not, I do. I believe that I'm in a theater and I'm watching everything and it's happening. And yes, I've adopted and built a personality and have an ego, and I became this person, and I went to this school and I did this thing, and I'm doing this thing now, and this is my occupation. But that's not who we really are. We're a watcher, and this whole thing is being narrated, and we're experiencing it through our experience watching this happen. Okay, so that's what basically the book is telling you about. But then it's telling you try to let everything flow, to not have a reaction. And you could probably hear it in my voice. It's like, okay, but who lives life like that? Like, you don't want me to react. You don't want me to be animated, or you just want me to let it flow. And I get it. I understand why. Because when you experience pain or something happens, you immediately, instinctively just absorb it. It's hard not to. Your first thought is, oh my God, it hurts, or oh my gosh, I have to protect myself. Yeah, sure. But my thing is like, how do I let it flow? How do I let it go? I just sit back and be like, oh, that's cool. That person punched me in my face. Yeah, I'm just going to let it go. It's not really happening to me. It's happening to my vessel, which is something I've adopted. I'm not crying. It's just my vessel, But yeah, that's what the book teaches you, is to like let things flow. Don't block yourself from anything, because blockage turns into painful points and cycles, get you into the funks, which we'll go into cycles in a minute. And then also it teaches you that, like, yes, things are going to happen, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you can't go back and change the past. So why dwell? Why think about it? Why try to fix it and condition it? But it's like, so let me get this straight. What do you want me to be, book? What do you want me to be? Do you want me to be this person who's just a watcher and lets things flow and not have anything to do? And sure, I could live a happy, peaceful life, but it seems so flat and boring to me. Like, don't get me wrong. Being stoic has its benefits, So then you're probably thinking the same thing I'm thinking. It's like, it's all about balance, Anthony, that you talked about in last episode. Balance. Yes, it is all about balance. Oh, did I talk about balance in last episode? Maybe I'm going to talk about it in this episode. Anyways, we'll get to it. But yeah, it's the same thing I'm thinking when I'm reading this book is like, okay, yeah, it's all about balance. Knowing when to choose to react or to be upset or to feel pain, and knowing when the difference is like it's stopping you and putting you into a funk and you can't get out of it. Sure. Here's what I came up with, okay? And kind of to summarize the whole thing. If life is like a dance, okay? The music is playing already and it was created, right? And everyone is tuning in to the same song, but the frequency is different for everyone. It makes you feel different. So the way I looked at it is that if everything matters but nothing matters at the same time, then it really just comes to choice. Choosing to dance to the music that is playing and choosing to dance your own way. And not thinking about the steps that you miss or looking at other people or conditioned to follow the routine. It's your choice. It's your choice to move or interpret it and feel it the way you want to. And you're like, okay, did you read all that book and that's where you got to conclusion? But I think that that analogy is spot on, because I think that's something we miss when we're dancing to the music and we're all hitting the same beat and we're all doing the same thing, but we're not really sure why we're dancing to it, other than it makes us feel good, sure. And we're trying to be happy, right? We want to thrive, be joyful. But I think what it comes down to is just choice, knowing what matters to you. If nothing matters, well, something must matter to you, and it's your choice to figure out what that is. And if everything matters, that means that you don't have to pick everything that matters for you to be so serious, which you can follow your own beat, Anyways, that's kind of where I was. Yeah, that's where I was at when I started reading or ending the book. Really glad I did reread it. I think it's a great book if you are interested in learning how to surrender, how to let it flow, let it go, and gives you great perspective. I'm on to the next book. I'm on to 2 books right now. There's one that I recently discovered called The Let Them Theory, which I haven't even read one sentence yet, but the book is on its way. And then the other one I'm rereading, Imperfections, with Brene Brown. And I'm about 1 chapter in, which I really like her writing style. It's great. I'll tell you more about it. Cool. How do we tie into the next one? The next thing. Childhood. Right. My parents obviously are immigrants coming over to California. I'm obviously a first generation Irish American. Very proud. Meaning that all my family were born and raised in Ireland, and I was the only one born in America, which I really love. I love that I'm very unique and different. I had parents who, because they grew up in a different country, were just different overall. Where am I going with this, Anthony? Be patient. We're getting there. They forced me to kind of live through their traditional values, meaning when I was growing up, they would want me to go play with certain kids outside or make friends. And I was always shy and hesitant. And this made me think about energy at an early age. And it's going to tie into the next part, I promise. But it really made me feel like that my parents were forcing me to do things I didn't want to do. And I know they meant well because they wanted me to make friends. But for me, it was like, dude, I don't feel right about that person. At a very young age. And them forcing me to like, stop being like that, just go play or just go do this. And not just with friends, but a lot of things. They forced me to do things where I'm like, I don't feel comfortable. Here's an example. My parents, let's start there. My parents worked a lot and my older siblings were going to school. So the first early years before I started school, I was babysat by tons of families and friends. And I just remember being passed around, not because like they couldn't do it, or I just kept thinking about like, I don't feel comfortable with this family. And at an early age, I would tell my mom this specifically and say, I know you, like, I know that you need help. Like even young, I mean, like, I know you need help, but I don't feel comfortable. And being that young and expressing that took a lot of courage. Not like courage, like being heroic, but like ordinary courage. to speak up at a young age and be like, I don't feel right about this, or I don't like how this is going. I did finally find a really great babysitter then going into my early years of childhood. But I just remember it being difficult for me. And I always thought back to those moments when I was reading this book, because I was holding a lot of like, why are you making me do this? You know? And it just occurred to me as I was reading it that there was a sense of belief in my own way of dancing or my own movement that I was very, I mean, I was gonna say adamant, but I was strong about expressing myself at a young age. And I remember my parents being like, you are very like outspoken and bold. Bold, by the way, in Irish terms is a bad thing, not a good thing. Like you're being very bold. All the Irish people who are listening, they're probably, yep, that's not really a compliment. But I was very bold. I was outspoken. I did have the courage to speak up and express myself at a young age. And I remember that. And I remember my mom did recognize that I was in tune, you know, that there was something different about me. But she didn't want me to miss out. I think that's why she would always encourage me. Just be like, try to make it work, you know? And that came from something I've adopted. Try to make it work. Okay, why I said that is because the next part I'm going to talk about, and it's a little longer, and it's very woo-woo. So if you're not into the woo-woo, I understand, and you can skip over this part. But spirituality is a big thing for me. And even at a young age, I've been very in tune of how I felt and how I seen things and questioned and was curious about a lot of things that, why are we doing this? Or what is this for? You know? And the answers I would get were simple answers, not enough for me to be like, okay, like that makes sense. But like, I always wanted more. So I'm going to talk about my experiences going to see teachers who are into spiritual healing. I would categorize it as Reiki, but in recent events, meeting my teacher recently, having a session with her, she didn't like the fact that I was like, you're my Reiki teacher. And she's like, I don't just do Reiki. And Reiki is not like that. Like, it's not a teacher. It's a channel. So let me just start by saying, what is Reiki? So if you never heard of Reiki, Reiki is a Japanese style way of healing. It's moving energy through your body. We have these chakras, right? 7 chakras from the root to the crown. And they are able to channel energy through your body to open, to make sure there's no blockage and closed up chakras or energy, and then to make it balance and flow. Okay. And I've been going to this lady. Her name is Patricia. She's fantastic, by the way. She's one of my favorite human beings on the earth. And it was referred by some friends who have visited her and had sessions here in Wexford, in Ireland, specifically Wexford. Anyways, I had one Reiki session my whole life, way before, about, almost 10 years ago. And that first time coming out of it, you feel like you have this like new energy. You're like rejuvenated. Like you're a new person. Everything feels lighter. You have so much I just remember thinking my head's clear and there's nothing stopping me. I feel like I have a really good flow, right? And you want to share that. I was so moved by it. And every time I've had these sessions, they're profound. They're they're life-changing. And I'm not even kidding you. Weird things happen to me every time. All right. So I've been going to Patricia for the last few years. And when I'm in Ireland, especially from a longer stay, extended stay, I will try to see her maybe once every 6 weeks, 2 months, whenever it's needed. Basically, you're supposed to go when it's needed. Let me just tell you about the first interaction, first session. And then I'll skip over. I'll talk about some of the other ones. And then give you my take and why am I telling you this. Okay? You're with me? Can we just pause for a second so I can take a sip of my water? I also want to make sure we're good on time. Cool. I can see myself. Okay. The first session I ever had with Patricia, I walked into this room. The room, she's very sweet. Let me just start by who she is. And she's this very short Irish lady, talks with her eyes closed. That's how she sees. I've grown to love it now but the first time was very like just a little awkward because I'm so used to eye contact and showing my respect that I'm like fully listening and paying attention. So her eyes are closed all the time when she talks, and I understand why. Because when your eyes are closed, you really take a good glance of everything, and you can see it so clear. And so I actually do this a lot now when I do my walks and talks. Not closing my eyes when I'm walking, but like when I'm stopping and thinking and meditating and breathing, all the things, right? So she closes her eyes when she speaks. She speaks with intention. She's very gentle, very kind, very aware, very in tune. And she's not just a Reiki teacher. She is also this very special human being who is able to channel energies. And she's able to look at you and read you, but not just read you, but know you, and able to, I'll say, predict things that might or will happen. Why do I say it like that? The very first moment I met her, I walked in and she showed me to the room. She asked me to take all my electronics off, take off my shoes. And I'm not even through the door. And she's like, oh my God, you are going through this really heavy cycle. She's like, you really had a tough time letting your mom go. You guys, when she said that, on top of feeling this like really warm, strong energy when you walked into this room, and to give you an idea, and I'll stop right there for the part where she said, but this room is full of like crystals. There's a bed for you to lay down with a weighted blanket when you do the session of Reiki. There's sound bowls and instruments and pictures of these like angels and shamans. It's just incredible. A lot of work went into it, and it's very sacred, right? And you guys, when she said that about my mom, and when I walked in and I was feeling this overwhelmed of just like, that was weird, right? This is weird. And her saying that just made me believe and feel that, yes, you understand. And she was so intuitive of what I was going through in that specific moment 2 years ago. And all she kept saying was, you need to let go of the past. You need to let go of a lot of things that didn't serve you. And you got to start realizing and you got to wake the fuck up. She didn't say that, but basically it was like, you need to wake the fuck up because there's things that you need to do that you're not listening to. You guys, I can't tell you how many random strangers or some way, somehow, someone will come to me, whether even I know them or not. I mean, and more times than not, for me to bring this up, people have said to me, you're not listening. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And it's the most frustrating thing for me. It is. It's the most frustrating thing for me because first they're random, right? They come at random times. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they come from close people and they say it a certain way. But it's always the same meaning. It's meaning like, you're not listening to yourself. You're not listening to the intuition. You're not looking inward and really making it happen, right? Not really making your life happen. You're not living by your own terms. And so she was basically telling me that the first time, and, I was overwhelmed and I started to cry. And we had a small talk. She was able to tell me things I didn't know. She did tell me that I was going to be in another position to learn from this cycle that happened. Where I was at in the cycle, I just lost my job. And I was also in a place where I lived somewhere permanently, but like not sure if I was going to be there for long term. But because of my like because I lost my job, I didn't know. I was repeating a cycle, right? I was like, what am I going to do again? She basically told me I was going to give another opportunity, and that through this opportunity, there's going to be 2 outcomes, which is easy. And she specifically told me what it was. And you guys, it happened. It happened. I took this job. I went in this relationship. I even visited her during the time. She even spoke about it and was basically like, I think you might need another lesson if you don't change. Okay. So I'm like speaking in riddles. I understand. But like, what I want to tell you or express to you was that she was able to recognize things in me that I already knew, that I didn't really get to talk to anyone about this. And she was able to like deliver it in a way where it made sense, and I started to believe. I started to understand what she was saying. So during the Reiki session, she's able to kind of put her hand. She walks you through it. She does these opening prayer, talks about being protected, bringing the healthy light and the healthy spirits, the loving light, and she's guiding me through. You guys, I could feel my blood move in different directions. I swear to God, I can feel my stomach turning and this energy like all going up. All because she starts from the crown. She touches your shoulders because she's challenging energy. She'll like hold your neck, and she'll say things like, "Let your neck move the way it wants to." And I'm like, "What?" And then my neck is moving. Like maybe 5 minutes later, it's like happening, and I'm not doing it. It's like doing it on its own. And you're probably like, "What the fuck, Anthony? What are you talking about?" I'm not kidding you. This is a big deal. This is the reason why I'm actually sharing this, and we're getting more into the spiritual side of me, because it's something that it feels good for me. I don't know why. It's something that I relate to. So then she's moving this energy. She's using these tools like a tuning fork, and she uses the vibration to kind of clear out energy, and I can feel my stomach moving. She uses like sound bowls, right, for vibrations. She's using this really cool instrument that's like a rainfall. It's really cool. I love it. I really want one. It's so nice. It's so nice. Oh my gosh, just laying there with a comfortable blanket, and you're just like, someone's like moving your bad energy out, and it's just getting rid of things. During this time, she's like telling me like, "Who is this girl that you dated?" And she was like this, that, and the third. And I was like, "Oh, interesting." And then she'd be like, "I'm getting the name," and she'll say the name. Say the name, Anthony. No, I got to keep some stuff for myself, keep a little private. But she's able to bring things out that there's no way that no one can know. And there's no way. I can't even explain it. And I don't even try to. I don't even try to question it, because I really do put my faith into what she's doing, because I truly feel that she's trying to help. And through this guidance, I start to feel lighter, like immediately. So we're done with the first session. And I remember, the big thing she talked about was like, grieving. It's hard. It's hard to do that, especially the way how my mom passed. I'll say it out loud. Sure. My mom had dementia, and dementia is a weird thing, and especially see your parent go through and see how it ripples effects throughout the family and people she knows and things. And what I realized is that you kind of lose your mom twice. You lose it the first time when she's starting to see the progression, and then you lose her again when she finally passes over, transcends into a different plane. And I just feel like maybe I put it off. Like I covered one eye, like I was watching, but I didn't want to watch, or I didn't want to accept it. And I still have trouble accepting that, that it happened, and that's what happened. And I'm seeking guidance, which I'll tell you another story soon about it. But anyways, these sessions, I come away feeling so much clarity, so much lighter. And it's crazy to me that someone can just channel and have this thing and be able to do this. And you feel it. It's not something that's like woo-woo. It's like you absolutely feel it. And I remember getting into the car, driving home, and just crying. Just bawling my eyes out, feeling relieved. You guys, I harbor so much inside. Good, bad, everything in between. I hold on to a lot, and it's been so nice to be able to go to someone who can relate, who can actually help guide you through it, to teach you what you're holding on to, what you need to let go, why. And through these sessions, I'm able to gain confidence in myself. Now, I just recently met with her the other day, and I'll be sharing a video of our session, which was really nice of her to participate and be part of. She was the first one to kind of champion, like, give me you need to live life the way you think you need to live life. And that's going to piss off a lot of people. And you're going to lose a lot. You're going to lose a lot, but you're going to gain so much on the other side, because it's fear. You're just worried. What she was trying to tell me was, you're so stuck in this matrix world, the system that you follow and you do, and everyone's normal and no one's special, and you just make a living, and that's it. She's like, you've been following that for years because you put so much trust into people, like your parents and your family, and you want that. But what she was telling me was that I was not born for that, and I know that. And you guys, I'm admitting that it's true. I don't feel like I'm just normal in that way. I really don't. I've never felt that way. I always felt lost and left out. And she has guided me through a place where she is like, you need to find your own way and do it your own way. And there's nothing wrong with that. And she was like, you need to do something. She's always said that there's something about you being a great communicator and being like sharing that it's supposed to help. And then I was like, a podcast? And she's like, I don't even know what that is, but yeah, maybe a podcast. She always said I was going to be great at speaking and writing, like using the pen or projecting. Like it was going to be this projecting, like this, it was going to get out. It was going to amplify somehow. And she was the first one to say, don't wait for anyone. Just do it yourself and do whatever you think that you want to do. Like she made me say all the things that I wanted to. She asked me, when you were a kid, what did you want to do? And I was like, well, I wanted to play sports. I was like, but I also wanted to do acting. Like I thought it was really fun to express yourself and have these emotions and then, watch it after, and see how it made you feel. Like I always felt it was fun. She's like, there's nothing stopping you from doing it. It's only you. And you think that you're not good enough to do it because, yeah, you haven't done it, but also you just haven't tried. Like, why haven't you tried? So she's always kind of been coaching me through this where she's like, just take a step, take a lean into something and try because you are very capable of doing it. You just have to show up and do it. And I believe her because that's what I want to do. But it's not the traditional path. And it's hard when you have eyes and ears and voices projecting back and being like, are you sure? Like, this is what you want to do? And you know how it goes, when you believe in something and not everyone sees it. And sometimes it brings out the worst in people, that's okay. She did say that. So anyways, these Reiki sessions have been just life-changing experience for me. And it's really given me, the chance to take a risk and bet on myself in this new direction and this new space because I do want to do some fun things that I believe in and I think I would be really good at. The other part that I know I really want to do is kind of do more volunteer or charity work. There's something about like I love giving back. I think because growing up as a Boys and Girls Club kid who didn't have much and then had all these resources and help and experiences that I would have never gotten if I didn't be a part of the Boys and Girls Club, really helped me like thrive and really helped me see opportunity, which I give a lot of thanks to the Boys and Girls Club. A huge thank you to Fred McCaslin, was our original director and who hired me for my first job and has been just there and has been there for so many of us that went to the Southside Boys and Girls Club in San Jose. San Jose? And I feel like I owe a lot to that experience, Anyways, these Reiki sessions, if you've never tried, I highly recommend just to give it a shot, just to see if it works for you. Like if you're stuck, or let's say you even want to do something, whatever it is that you want to do, big, small, if it lights you up and makes you happy and you've never tried it, maybe you need to have a little encouragement or a coach or a guide and try something different. That would be my recommendation for you because that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get all the help I can get, It's no different being in the classroom and having a teacher helping you or a coach, okay? We need that sometimes, and I can't say that enough. So please give it a shot if you never did. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, I did see my first psychic for the first time here in Ireland. I'll be very short with that because my experience was also the same as Reiki, where I was interested to see how this would unfold, what the session would look like. And then I came out of it saying, okay, you just confirmed what I needed to know. You reassured me. She did say certain things that, will probably happen later. I won't say yet, or at all. Maybe I'll just keep it for myself. But it was very interesting. one of the biggest things is that, she told me that my mom is always with me, and she's very proud, and that makes me happy. It makes me really happy to know that she's not just playing bingo up in heaven, but she's still here around us. And she says she's very proud of my dad and I's relationship and how I care for him. And I'm not the only one. Obviously, I have family and friends who all love and care about my father. But she was just very proud and wants to see me grow into the person I've always meant to be. And one of the advice was, just be a kid. Just be a kid and have fun and live your life. Live your own life for yourself. And don't let anyone tell you or stop you from doing anything. And that was also overwhelming. And look, who knows, right? Who knows what the future has for us, but we won't know until we try. And that's what I'm doing. I'm showing up. I'm trying. I'm here. And I'm sharing it with you. And it's like taking a lot of courage and vulnerability to do this because, look, not a lot of people are going to be listening. That's okay. That's okay. I'm sure eventually maybe you'll find it and I'll keep showing up. I just know that it won't happen if I don't show up and try. And I need to try. Another thing, which we can talk about next topic, you don't really need a bet. A lot of people are like, well, don't you need to be qualified? Like, what experience do you have? And why are people going to listen to you? And it's like, I have no control of what people do. I have none. None of it is up to me. I can only do what I want to do. And hopefully that resonates with people. And hopefully, it grows. That's all I can hope for. Right. And part of it is like, I don't need the flashless badge to show you that I'm worthy enough to do this. It's just a microphone. It's just a camera, 2 rinky-dink lights. And just me preaching, me talking, me ranting, all the things and sharing. I'm sharing these things because I'm hoping that in there somewhere, it is showing you what another soul in this planet is doing and how they're navigating it and what they're trying to do. And a lot of it is that I'm still learning. I'm not fully ready, or I'm not fully sure how it's all going to play out, but we're just taking a step, right? And then I have friends who recently reached out and was like, "Hey, like that's great, but how are you gonna live? What kind of where are you gonna get the money from? How are you gonna live?" And I was like, "That's a great question, you guys. It seems like no one wants to hire me, which is very strange. And the jobs that I do get offered, they're like not worth my while, or I'll be miserable in it. And that's something I will not do anymore. I want to be on my own terms and agree to something that I feel is rewarding, and rewarding for my efforts. Because you guys, I'm telling you, all the work I've ever done for any job, I have nothing to show for it, really. Nothing. Because here I am, back to square one, trying to find something just to get some income. And what I did was, and I told the same thing, is like, I'm just going to create it myself. I'm going to create this myself, and it's going to be the first, step in the right direction for myself. And all I could do is do that. And I understand people want to help or are so curious, and they're like, and I think part of it's not even about me, what I'm doing. It's about like, why aren't they doing something, And that's fair. And I know they come from a good place, but it's like, look, I have as much as faith in this as anyone else does, But I really think you don't need permission. You don't need to flash your badge to show your worthiness or who you are. I think you just need to show up and want to be a student, want to learn, want to grow, knowing that everything we do, it doesn't matter where you start or who you are or what profession, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be falls. I don't care what, everything. Riding a bike, fall, play basketball, professionally, you miss a lot. Whatever it is, music. Guys, you think producers and songwriters, and even musicians and artists, like they write a song, you think they get paid right away? Not everyone gets paid right away. They do the work, they're happy about their creativity and their art, and then hopefully they get paid for it. That's what people do who believe in themselves or just want to do something that they love doing. There's no different. There's no different in that. And I'm owning this. I'm owning this with you, that I want to keep doing this because it just gives me life. It's therapy for me. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. And I really do hope it grows. I really do. I'm gonna try my best. I'm getting really up close and personal, aren't we? Can I just take a sip of water? Can you just take a moment? Oh yeah. I'm reading the notes. I have some notes. Is that okay with you? What about you? You? I was thinking about, how I'm trying to manifestation. I'm trying to manifestation? No. I'm trying to manifest, what this would look like or what it could be and what would it make me feel? What would I do? It's the question that we probably all ask. If money was no object and we had all the time in the world, what would you do? What would you do? Obviously a lot of us would take care of our family and friends. We go travel, we have fun, we enjoy life. But like at a certain point, is that enough? It wouldn't be enough for me. For sure, it would not be enough. I constantly need something to do. I need my personal and my work life to tether. They be together forever. That was really nice. And I feel like that is important to me. So yeah, no money. If money wasn't an object and you had all the time in the world, what would you do? But why is the second part. Why would you do it? And for me, it's like, I just want people to I would want to give and share. And I would like to learn I want to grow. I still want to learn, no matter how old or young I am. And I just want to be able to make an impact, or give people opportunity, because I didn't have always the same opportunity or the same path as everyone else. And that's what I would do, and this is one of the things I want to do. And I'm just really curious to ask you, the viewer, if money was no object, why do we say that about no object? If it didn't matter, and you had all the time in the world, what would you do and why? You ever think about that? I do all the time. But I was thinking about this, this manifestation, right? And I remember what Patricia, the Reiki lady, spiritual teacher, she wants me to call her spiritual teacher, said to me about, I keep going these cycles, and the cycles that I'm going through are these, it's life telling me it's not working, but you keep doing it anyways and you're not listening. And it's like, okay, then what do I do? How do I make, but that's the question. I'm like, okay, I do this, right? But how do I make money? How am I doing this? And it's honestly, it's not up to me, right? It is kind of, but it's not. It's like, because it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I know I'm going to figure it out. I just don't know when. And that's the tough part. That's the hardest part of waiting, being patient, just knowing that, like, when is it going to happen? And the way she described it to me was basically like a wave. How you catch a wave. I'll do it backwards. You catch a wave, and then when you hit the wave, right at the peak, when you're about to ride it, it goes down, right? Before you coast and ride it. And what that means is, when you get that opportunity and you take it and you ride it, a lot of things is going to change. You're going to surrender. You're going to fall, right? You're going to shed a lot of things to make room for the new ride, the new wave. And I'm in this opportunity where I just hit the point, but she's like, you're not done with this shedding cycle, unfortunately. And she told me to let it flow. Whatever happens, just keep going, keep consistent, stay the path, because you need to see it through, and you won't see it through until time takes you there. Just like anything, timing. So I've been thinking a lot about that. What else have I been thinking about? I have some notes we're going to take. How are we doing on time, guys? I don't want to keep you. I don't know. We're like maybe at 45 minutes, maybe. I don't know. Could be. It feels like 15 minutes. We could stop there. I do have a couple of things to talk about, but yeah, well, this goes back to the point I was making before, and we'll end it here. But I think I'm at a fork in the road. I'm in a fork in the road trying to choose the path. And I'm starting to take the path which feels more like it's my choice, it's my world, this is where I want to go. But on this path, it's like I'm going to lose a lot, and it sucks. It's hard to let go. It's hard to fold, right? And it's like I don't know if I'm ready for it. And the thing is, I think that way or feel that way because I'm holding on to something because I can't see what this new path is going to take me. And I've been thinking a lot about it. So to end this, I'm going to tell you what I like to do usually when I feel stuck. So a couple years ago, actually in 2019, my dad and I were taking a trip up to Belfast, and I was just so drawn to this bookstore. It was a really interesting bookstore. And I bought myself some tarot cards. And I bought these specific angel tarot cards because they're fun and they're light and there's nothing really dark about it. So even when you get a card that's supposed to be, dark, it's still light. So I got this and I grabbed a book with it, but the book didn't come till later. And the book, I didn't even know they had a book. I just got the cards. About 2 years later, I went to Sebastopol in California. And another spiritual like book, another spiritual like town. Like, oh my God, Sebastopol, there's something like, I could feel the energy. It's not like a yang energy. It's like a yin. It's like a softness or like awareness. And it's like the whole town is like, please, if you're from California, you get a chance, go to Sebastopol, see if you're picking up what I'm feeling, because it's like, oh my gosh, everyone is like in tune. I've never ever been to a place where it was like that. Anyways, I bought the book there. So when I'm stuck, I look to the tarot cards, and I usually, will ask the cards to direct me in the right way, or you give me some guidance or insights. So for fun, we'll just pick one off the top. So why do you have to be, why? Okay, cool. All right. The card we got is number 18, the Moon, Archangel Henel. And it says, important psychic insights. You don't say. Events behind the scenes. Release fears that hold you back. And it's a really detailed card if you can take a look at it. If you can't and you're just listening, it's a beautiful picture. I'll just tell you that, of this angel with a lassie dog in a river. In a forest. And then this is where, the book comes in handy, and it will give you more of an insight, and it kind of gives you a direction. And then it gives you a choice, because at the end of the choice, you need to pick. You can't just feel stuck. You can't just be stuck. You need to make a move. And that's something I've learned, gosh, more than ever. I've learned it recently. Just be like, I got to own it, and that usually which way to go or how to choose. And you need to trust in that. You need to believe in it, because once you make the move, you got to trust that it's going to be the right thing for you. And I know it's hard to do. So trust it, Guys, this was so much fun. I think we're really finding ourselves here. I think we're really connecting. I love doing this, and I can't wait to do this again. I don't know if you've seen a change or you've seen the progression over the episodes, but the more I show up, the more I feel aligned by doing this. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do this. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for just letting me share. And I appreciate you guys so much. That's it. Have a wonderful, what day is today? Hump day. Today's Wednesday. It doesn't even matter because I probably won't even release it on a Wednesday. But whatever day it is that you're listening to this, crush it, because you deserve it. Yes, you do. I believe in you. All right, everyone. Have a good one. See you soon. This is the Born Reddy Podcast. I'm Anthony Reddy. Ready or not. Thanks, y'all.